Democrat Kim Weaver was running against Republican incumbent Steve King for his congressional seat, but announced yesterday that she would be stepping down from that race due to multiple reasons. But one of them was rampant death threats that she's been receiving for apparently many months. So we're gonna read a section from her announcement, which was posted on her Facebook, which says, beginning during my 2016 campaign, I've received very alarming acts of intimidation, including death threats. While some may say enduring threats are just a part of running for office, my personal safety has increasingly become a concern. She goes on to say, above this, my personal health is an issue. In order to sufficiently devote myself to the campaign, I would have to quit my job and shift to campaigning full time. With recent legislation on health insurance, I must admit that the possibility of seeking a new job after the election exposes too much of a risk for me in not being able to secure health insurance. So in that second part, she's experiencing something that many Americans are going to experience, a restriction on their ability to pursue their life thanks to Republican legislation. But there, she's saying that both during the special election and in the previous election where she ran against Steve King, receiving these death threats, and almost certainly, we know how this game goes, rape threats as well, I'm sure. And so she felt that to protect her life, she needed to drop out. So Steve King now apparently will sail to an easy victory, and so he will accept that victory with the grace and poise that we expect from a man who has talked about subcultures and lesser humans. He says, I wanted Kim Weaver in the race, not out. Democrats drove her out of the race, not ours. Death threats likely didn't happen, but a fabrication.
Death threats likely didn't happen? I'm sure he gets death threats on a regular basis. Yeah. Death threats are part of the internet. Look, I don't want to minimize some of the trauma that people experience as a result of these threats. Sometimes they're extremely specific, sometimes they include personal information, including your address. And it's a scary situation if you haven't been experienced with it previously. So if it's something that has convinced her, hey, you know what, the costs outweigh the benefits of running, I don't want to be too harsh on her. I don't know everything about her personal life. She could have these serious health issues. And again, if the costs outweigh the benefits, then it's up to her to make that decision, even though I do wish she fought, right? Yeah. Because we need someone who's gonna fight against these members of Congress who are incredibly dangerous. But yeah, like it's to say that these death threats are a fabrication is ridiculous, especially when death threats happen on, like someone's threatening my life right now as I'm talking, right? Yeah, it's just an all day, everyday thing that happens on the internet. So no, they're not fabricated, they do happen.
He's just a terrible person.
He's a really bad guy.
He represents the worst elements of America.
He's a racist. I mean, that's what he is.
He's just an out and out racist.
Yeah. So and he he supported when Geert Wilders, the nationalist candidate from the Netherlands, came over to the United States. He came over as a guest of Steve King and Louis Gohmert as well. He got a tour of the House. He got a tour of the Senate and the galleries and everything. And they were there because of Steve King. He embraces this at every turn. He's a bad guy.
Yeah, I mean that response was. Like whether you believe that she's right to drop out because she's concerned that she'll be killed or not, maybe just keep it to yourself. Like you got what you wanted. You're going to be a congressman again. You're going to have a platform.
But he may not. I mean, they're going to find another candidate, and this race got more attention because of this. I mean, that's not the attention you want.
It's possible.
They'll get another candidate. Someone will run against Steve King. Hopefully, somebody who's super progressive, and in that state where there's appeal to super progressives. And they'll lose, but it's it's still be great.
Yeah, I hate the myth that we're forced to. It's the weird neutrality that we have to have, where we have to pretend that in the American context, political violence happens, and hey, sometimes it targets Democrats and sometimes it targets Republicans. It's not true. It's not saying that it's always in one direction, but we know in America generally. It's Democratic and left-wing politicians that are targeted through acts of political violence, even recently in America, and so. Like I would hope that she would continue, but I understand why she cannot, because the threat is real, and Democratic congressmen and politicians, governors, senators have been shot not too long ago, and so I understand why she'd be afraid.
What's in TYT membership? Not gonna tell you. Only one way to find out. TYTnetwork.com/join.